Good morning, fifth graders. Great to see you today. We are continuing our read of Falcon Wild by Terry Lynn Johnson. This has become one of my favorite books. And we're going to see what's happening now. We left them at chapter 19, page 110. I hope you're reading along and enjoying this book. Cooper nods, staring blankly into the flames. Did you see how fast that bear ran? We could have actually been killed and eaten out here. He seems to have shut down, as if the bear chasing us was the last thing he could handle. I've been to wild places before, he continues. I've seen Yellowstone through the car window, but not like... He lifts his head and stares at me. I thought he was going to get you. Yeah, so did I. Thanks for waiting, I say. I'll save myself before I save you, he tells me. Every time. But you didn't. As I relive it in my mind, I begin to smile. You pushed me away from the grizz first. You waited. Cooper shrugs and pokes the fire with a stick. He's silent so long. I wonder if he's angry at me again for something. What is he thinking? Finally, he quietly repeats himself. I thought that bear was going to get you. I sit beside him, and this time he doesn't move away. He was scared for me, but doesn't know how to say it. I can't imagine why he's always afraid to show what he's thinking. Why does he pretend he doesn't care about anything when he clearly does? I shiver and lean into the warmth of Cooper, solid and real beside me. He leans into, and somehow I'm not embarrassed by our closeness. We may not be in the cafeteria at a real school, but I have someone to sit next to. After a while, our shared heat slows down my shivering. I wonder if Mom has called Stark's owner. She must have done that. And then found out we never arrived. She must be flipping out. Maybe she has every police officer out searching for us. But that wasn't even a road we were supposed to be on. They won't search for a van stuck on the side of a dead-end road that we weren't going to take. I'm suddenly on fire with the need to get to them. We don't have time to sit here. I glance around again, looking for the sun. Anything to figure out where we are. Maybe we should climb to the top here so we can see where we are. I point to the mountain behind us. We both look up at the climb. There's a path of flatter terrain cut out of the rock by erosion. It's stamped into the mountain and switchbacks. Shrub brush grows along the side of the path for the first part before it gives way to barren rock. We can climb that, I say. We're lost after that trip down the river. We'll be able to see the highway from up there. Cooper scans the mountain, and I watch his face as he studies it. Stark leaps from the branch she's been in and flaps down to me. She lands on my damp jeans and perches on my knee as if it's the most natural thing in the world. I feel a bit smug and proud that my falcon is sitting on my lap. I glance at Cooper to see what he thinks. He's pulling off his shoes and wringing out his socks. Too bad Stark can't tell me what it looks like up there, I say. I wish I could read her mind. Wandering around down here hasn't worked out for us too well. We need a plan. Yeah, Cooper agrees. A plan for no more bears. I'm not curling into a ball and hiding from bears. Nothing can keep me from saving my family. I have things to do. I am not afraid. I reach out my hand to stroke Stark and cry out from the pain. Cooper's head comes up. When I clutch my arm, he peers closer at it. Let me see. Gingerly, he takes my hand and pulls up my sleeve. The redness has spread to my wrist in lines that radiate up. That's messed up, Cooper says. He carefully turns my arm over to inspect the wound. His touch is as soft as a wingtip. He bends over my arm, studying it, running his fingers over the edges, tentatively wiping away the thin, bloody ooze that seeps from it. Then he suddenly seems aware of how he's holding my hand and drops it abruptly. It's infected. You need antibiotics. Your body will try to fight it and you'll get a fever and get sick within a day. Can you still use your arm? I pull my sleeve down, shaking my head. Not really. It hurts a lot. But I won't need it. Those switchbacks look like a good spot to get up the mountain. Not much slope. We can just walk up, easy. I force a smile when all I want to do is cry. How do you know so much about wounds? I ask. My mom was a doctor. She was? As in his mom's dead? Is that why he's so angry? Oh, I'm sorry. He looks at me then. What? No, she's not. Just forget about it. That was years ago. Cooper, talk to me. Where is your mom? You said your dad didn't want you. Why don't you live with her? Why did you say you don't live anywhere? He sighs and runs his fingers through his wet hair. He stirs the fire and the heat blasts my face. Stark flies back up to her tree. Because I left my uncle's place, okay? When he doesn't continue, I wait. The silence stretches between us, hangs in the air. Still, I wait. Cooper sighs again. Last year, my dad lost his job and got all stressed out with everything. We had to move into a crap apartment, and we didn't even have enough money for groceries. He pokes the fire angrily. Then a buddy of mine told me about a paid job that we could do one night that was guaranteed. But it turned out it wasn't his car we were riding in. I didn't even know that, but the cops didn't care. Suddenly everyone is involved, social workers and everything all up in our business. That goes on for a while, and I figure that since everybody already thinks I'm a thief, I might as well actually get some money that way. Cooper slides a glance at me, and I fiddle with my sleeve to make it seem as though I'm not looking at him. Instinctively, I know that my gaze could make him feel self-conscious, and I want him to keep talking. But I screwed up one too many times. It put Dad over the edge, so he just dumps me off in Red Rock at his brother's ranch in the middle of nowhere. It's so small I wouldn't actually call it a town. And he doesn't even live in town, but out in the open. You have to drive everywhere because it's so far from anything. Hey, I live south of Red Rock. My mom owns that flower shop. It's not so bad living in a small town. Most people are generally nice. Well, Uncle Mike's already got his own 2 kids to care about, and he also didn't like it when I borrowed Nikki's jewelry box. Whose jewelry? I wanted to use my aunt's old jewelry box as a model to make her a new one in a woodworking class. We were supposed to think of a project. It was a stupid idea. Since it was a secret, I didn't want to tell her, so I borrowed it. Unc said he believed me, but I could see him watching me after that. He didn't need the hassle of having me there, so I left. It's the most he said about himself, and some of the puzzle pieces are falling into place for me. I'm ashamed to tell him that even though I have a supportive family, I moved into a treehouse just so I could live like a raptor. Why did I do that? Listening to Cooper makes me realize I took my family for granted. Now all I want is to be with them. If we get home, I'm going back to my old room so I can hear Gavin talking in his sleep through the walls all night. So I know everyone around me is safe. I keep my eyes on the fire, keep my voice even. But your family, he must want you there. Family should be together even though it's hard sometimes. Cooper pulls his socks back on. Yeah, well, not as hard as finding that lousy highway. Let's get climbing. I glance at Stark in the trees overhead, remembering that first time she ate from my hand, how her whole body stood erect and proud and wild. She finally trusted me. I turn back to Cooper, feeling like he might finally be trusting me too. Okay, you lead this time. Cooper picks up my pack and throws it on. A small smile tugs at my lips as we put out the fire and make our way through the shrubs. I know that after a bird starts to eat from your hand, then comes the free flying. Chapter 20, page 116. We start up the mountain, hiking in single file. The ridges rise in front of us, peppered with scree and scrubby brush. Loose rocks roll from Cooper's kicked feet. I put my head down when I hear them coming so I don't get them in my eyes. As I clamber after him, my arm throbs with every step. My wound is much worse now that I know it's infected. It's burning me from the inside out. It feels like a living thing under my skin, tearing to break free. I hold my arm close to my body as we climb. I'm thankful Cooper is carrying the pack. The path I saw from the river turns out to be less of a path and more of a gutter for rainwater, with a row of crevices and shrubs growing out of it. We pick our way along, and pretty soon I notice that I'm not cold anymore in my damp clothes. In fact, the air is definitely warmer. I'm starving again, Cooper says. Feels like years since we ate that grouse. Yeah, me too. Where is that bird of yours? She's up there. I point above us. Don't worry, she's okay. It's cool she could keep an eye on you from so high up. How does she see things so far away? Like she was way up in the sky and just hit that grouse dead on. Her sight is 10 times better than ours. I'm glad for the distraction to talk about raptors. She has 2 ocular sensors instead of just 1, like we do. That means she can focus on things far away like a video camera and make it look like it's up close. Awesome, Cooper says, but she's so far from you. Why wouldn't she just fly away? It's not like she's on a leash. She stays connected. She stays because we're linked, not with a leash, but we're connected in our minds. Cooper turns to give me a disbelieving glance. Right, you're telling me you have a telepathic bird? No, just we're partners. In falconry, you want your raptor to depend on you to flush the game. They know you'll let them chase it and then help them after they catch it. A falconer wants their raptor to trust them and be part of the partnership. It's a sacred thing. So can you make her catch something bigger, like an antelope? Well, first of all, she's a falcon, so her specialty is hunting things in the air, remember? Falcons don't usually hunt rabbits or game on the ground because they use their speed to knock prey out of the sky. I grab at a rock crevice with my good arm and use it to hoist myself to the next ledge. And I can't make a raptor do anything. Sometimes Aunt Amy and I take her goshawk Tank out and we spend hours beating bushes trying to flush a rabbit. When one finally does flush, Tank sometimes just sits in the tree and watches the rabbit run by. Cooper laughs. I'm shocked to hear that sound come out of him. They have their own mind and do what they want to do, he says. I like it. Well, a lot depends on their weight. If they're keen, that means if they're keen, that means they're at the right weight to want to hunt. And before they hunt again, they need to cast a pellet. That's when they bring up this long wad of undigested feathers and bone. It looks like they're throwing up. Nasty. They need to do it before they feel like eating again. That was cool to see her eat, he says, ripping out the feathers like that. In the wild, parents first bring dead prey into the nest, then they bring prey that's mostly dead, then slightly dead, then pretty much alive. As the chicks grow, they practice handling and killing. I stop talking suddenly. I see a worried glance to Cooper. Am I being weird again, talking too much? But he's interested. Mostly dead dinner, he chuckles. How do they kill their food? Falcons kill by fitting their tooth between the neck bones of their prey and pulling on the neck until it breaks. Falcons have teeth? I laugh. No, I'm talking about the pointy part of their beak. It's also called the notch. Anyway, an imprint bird like Stark misses all of those lessons from its parents. I never guessed there was so much to know about birds, Cooper says. Once we're above the tree line, I glance behind me, anxious to discover how far I can see. The forest stretches out below us, a blanket of autumn reds and yellows. There's only forest and the river. We have to get higher to see past the mountain and out to the other side. But I look back over my shoulder again when I notice the sky. The cloud cover is closed in and dropped lower since we were at the river. An ominous black band stretches across the distant horizon. That's when I notice just how warm the wind feels now as it blows my hair across my face. Such a drastic change in temperature is never a good thing. I glance at the storm clouds. The wind feels dangerous. Maybe we should find some shelter, I say. You can't trust the weather around here, and I don't like the look of those clouds. Come on. Not until we crest the ridge. Cooper knows we need to be able to see past the mountain. We pick up the pace, scrambling up the rock. I brace my good hand against the side of the steep sections. The rock is sharp. The rock is cold and sharp. I'm going to stop there, the bottom of page 119, and we'll continue there tomorrow. Thanks so much, fifth grade students. I hope you're enjoying this book as much as I am. Take care.